The latest news from this industry suggests the bull market is here. They are literally shouting that it's gonna grow and nothing can stop it. It's believed that it can be created by Bitcoin owners who want to take advantage of the financial capabilities of Ethereum-based applications. But do you know why I share my thoughts on the future price of Bitcoin, but at the same time, don't do the same with altcoins? Glad to welcome you to the Coin Post channel. Today, the share of Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency market is more than 60%. But some people are sure that this won't always be so. First, the Bitcoin dominance will drop to 30%, and this could happen in the next year or two. And Bitcoin may lose its first place in terms of capitalization in the next 5 years. As you already understood from the screensaver and the title of this video, it's Ethereum that should eventually stop being forever number 2 and finally become the number 1 cryptocurrency. How? Switching to the POS algorithm and launching Ethereum 2.0, a boom in the decentralized finance market, or just some magic from Vitalik Buterin. Just give him enough time. The Coin Post decided not to stand aside. Therefore today we're talking about the prospects of Ether, its future, and its price, because this question is the most important. Besides, we're the friendliest community on YouTube. If you want to join us, just click the subscribe button. Let's begin. So, first things first, let's begin with the decentralized finance market that should become practically the second ICO, which again will make Ether super popular. The latest news from this industry suggests the bull market is here. They are literally shouting that it's gonna grow and nothing can stop it. See for yourself. The top cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase has published a list of tokens that may appear on their trading platform in the future. And among them we can find representatives of the DeFi sector like Banker and Compound. Our loyal viewers just don't need an explanation. But to our newcomers, I'll say that the news about listing on Coinbase can increase the price of the token from 10 to 40% within 24 hours. The growth in the total capitalization of DeFi tokens is showing quite fascinating results. There's a whole website tracking their performance, and we see that just a bit more, and it hits the $2.5 billion mark. Therefore, it's not surprising that recognizable developers such as Consensus began to come here. They introduced their own transaction tracking platform for the decentralized finance sector. And another piece of news worth mentioning is the exponential growth of a new number of assets in the DeFi system. Although I wouldn't say we should be excited about this news. Well, you know what I'm like. I just can't tell you only the good part. I always need to turn a coin, examine it from both sides, and only then draw some conclusions. So, the ICO boom, which collapsed by analogy with the dot-coms, was also called the reason for the Ether to take the first place. The reason I remember dot-coms is that after this bubble burst, the best of the best companies remained on the market. With the ICO, the situation was similar. The best example of this is Binance Coin, which the top 1 crypto exchange almost started from. By the way, their ambitions go beyond cryptocurrency trading. I remembered the ICO because everything was just fine at the time until we saw the exponential growth of new projects. Can a decentralized finance market suffer the same fate? Yes, of course, because the more the hype, the more scammers and amateurs want to make quick cash. Hence, we have this. Can a DeFi sector be promising and help Ethereum grow? The answer to this question is yes. But answering the question of whether the DeFi market can face similar problems as it happened to the ICO, I'm gonna say also yes, and it cannot be avoided. And we're moving on to the next thing related to the development of Ethereum as a whole. By the way, I'd appreciate if you could give this video a thumbs up, because it helps in promoting our video. Vitalik Buterin and the team's main idea is the transition to POS mining, that is, the launch of the Ethereum 2.0 platform. And things are going, let's say, not so well, because the key update of the Berlin network, without which it's impossible to go to zero phase of the launch, has already been postponed to the fall. But the problem with supporting multiple clients on the same network seems to be finally solved. At least developers from Prismatic Labs said that their new Ethereum 2.0 test network called Onyx has every chance of becoming final. Let me remind you that to do that, it should work with all the main clients for the Ether network without a hitch for at least 2 months. But most people believe that Buterin and the company can still solve all the technical issues, and we will see Ethereum version 2.0 sooner or later. This is clearly evidenced by the chart of the growth in the number of wallets with a balance of 32 ethers. It's such a threshold that is needed to take part in staking after switching to the POS algorithm. Another chart also indicates the popularity of Ether, which shows an increase in the number of wallets to 100 million. It's essential to point out that 100 million wallets are not close to 100 million users. Otherwise, Ether would have been cryptocurrency number 1 a long time ago. I'll remind you that one person can have up to 1 million wallets, and there are also some long-standing inactive addresses on this list. And another study, which shows the investors' faith in the project, says that the percent of Ether supply and profit is hovering at 80%. They calculated it in the following way. They looked when there was the last transaction and compared the rate at the time with the Ether's current price. It's actually a fairly accurate metric if you don't take into account the fund sending between their own wallets, and this was monitored whenever possible. But there is one claim for these studies though: they do not directly affect the price, because they don't stimulate other people to buy. Anyone seeing this data decided to buy or not to buy a long time ago. Demand is necessary for growth. It's believed that it can be created by Bitcoin owners who want to take advantage of the financial capabilities of Ethereum-based applications, and the tokens provided by the first cryptocurrency will become a bridge for this. It will be like the Lightning Network, that is, the second layer for the Bitcoin network, but everything will work in the Ether ecosystem. I don't need any links and pictures so that we are not accused of anything, but I'll point out that Bitcoin has its own add-ons, where there are tokens, quick payments, loans, etc. So the Ether developers will have to work hard to convince the Bitcoin owners to use their ecosystem. I hope that our newcomers are already willing to subscribe and enable notifications, and we're moving on to the climax, namely to the Ether price. In the wake of the rise of various metrics and interest in decentralized finance from the previous 2 parts of the video, we can see some optimism about the future forecast of the Ether price in the short term. Here, for example, is the forecast where in September 1 Ether is going to be more than $600. Or here's another one, according to which this summer or the early fall Ether is going to go up above $300 per coin. The authors of both forecasts have credibility in the crypto community and were guided by certain logic while making them. But do you know why I share my thoughts on the future price of Bitcoin, but at the same time don't do the same with altcoins? Let's do a little experiment. Here you have 2 charts with a daily time frame from an approximate one point in time. Can you tell me, without looking at the price, which one is Bitcoin and which is Ether? Or do the same but with the weekly chart. You can even pause the video and try to find the differences and decide whether it's Bitcoin or Ether. Good job if you coped with that, but I'm sure that you noticed how the price fluctuations in both cases are almost identical. Obviously, Ether acts as number 2, obediently repeating the schedule of Bitcoin. Therefore today, I can safely predict Ether priced at $400 in almost a week, provided that Bitcoin will work a miracle and hit 12,000. And vice versa, if Bitcoin falls to about 6,000, get ready to buy Ether for $100. This trend could change in theory, but you need a big shakeup, a hype that will lead new customers to Ether. Will Ethereum 2.0 be enough for this? To be honest, I have no idea. Starting an updated platform will help to improve the rate even more. The fully completed Ethereum 2.0 must become the very global computer Vitalik Buterin promised us for its price to really increase and be independent of Bitcoin. I would be glad if this happened, but there are too many obstacles to this goal, so consider this when making your own investment decisions. And that's it for today. Thank you for watching. It's the Coin Post channel. Subscribe and get enlightened.